Maybe you were wondering tonight I was going to have a change of plans. Maybe you thought, ladies and gentlemen, I had nothing to talk about. Our guest was going to come on here, and maybe we decided not to talk about Wyatt Black. Nah, we're going to bring him up. Maybe you decided we weren't going to talk about what happened with Godric Samuel and Tommy Hart. Nah, we're going to bring that up. Maybe you thought we wouldn't talk about a number of different things that happened at Metal Mayhem. Nah, we're going to talk about it. Maybe you thought, well, we just wouldn't talk about anything, and maybe I wouldn't call Courtney Wood the next female Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller. Nah, I'm going to say anything, but I will promise you, though, she's definitely not going to Vogue on here today because, she's put just Courtney on here. I think about Madonna and I think about Vogue, and she's definitely not going to do the Vogue, though I'm sure she would have loved to have seen maybe Wyatt Black get one more Vogue with a chair shot with Riku St. Helen. We'll definitely get into that. I'm going to put that footage up there. I'm going to definitely put that footage up. I'm going to also make some announcements of some guests coming on, and one that's a champion from the WVWF that's here tomorrow night. And then next weekend, somebody else that's now in a tag team with a hype man coming on to Sportswire Radio next Saturday. I have no idea what to expect there. And maybe I'll even get our guest's thoughts on Godric Samuel wrestling for an NWA championship. And the collective will be brought up. That the usuals will be brought up here, and who knows whatever else. But, I know that I'm a little late, and I've decided tonight I'm not going to do the introduction. I've decided I'm not going to do it because maybe Courtney's cat's mad or Tommy Horror's cat is going to maybe, choke or have a heart attack. Hopefully, no. Please, no cats will be hurt when this introduction will be done. But I've decided, after all, have no fear. I am going to do the introduction because I see the chat here, and we are, after all, still for a little while longer in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and wrestling matters. And as in the famous words of Mr. Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, and start this show off in style on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, #1 Sports Show. A woman that has been featured multiple times in Slam Magazine, the wrestling site that's been only written by the likes of Bret the Hitman Hart and Natalia Neidhart. A woman that is certainly doing a better job covering professional wrestling than Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller, maybe with a little bit more of a foamy mouth, and somebody that certainly has plenty to say, always here. Her name is, simply put, Courtney. Well, 1, Women's Wrestling Writers is here. My friend, how are we doing?
I am doing so well. How could you even joke about not doing an intro?
Because people, maybe they don't want to see it anymore. Maybe they don't want to hear the war chants. The cats hopefully aren't harmed when I did this intro or previous intros, and maybe people just want. Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's Reverend Tom Bryce alongside Courtney Wood of LAW. Good evening, everybody. I mean, maybe they want that. Maybe they just don't want the theatrics. Maybe they just don't want being in prime time anymore in the brightest lights, the biggest. Maybe they just want what they get on other shows. Well, what did you think of Raw yesterday? And what was your fantasy booking for SmackDown? And what did you think about those releases? And maybe that's what people they want, and they're tired of it. They want change, and maybe I thought that's why I would not do the intro and not do the over the top and the long intros and get everybody hyped, because maybe it's just time not to do it anymore. But
No. That would make so many people sad. You can't even do that.
We did the intro though, but I did actually, and I feel like I ad-libbed more than I usually did, and I like
You did. It was amazing.
There. Well, I mean, listen, we're here for it. We definitely did it, and yeah, I mean, see, there you go. Ox McCoy was like he was watching a Facebook episode of 2022, and yeah, the intro was like 15 to 20 seconds. Now they're like a book report. I mean, it's just reminds me when I was. Now you're a teacher. You'll appreciate this. When I was in college, I remember writing. I took communications. I took speech. I took a number of those different courses. And I remember my intros. I never forget. My professors always said you had to shorten the intro, because I would write like a book report on the intro. So I would shorten them. And then obviously, kind of like my intros years ago on Sportswire, they were short. But now I'm going back to the way it was 15 years ago when I was in college, 20 years ago in high school. And I'm just doing the long intros that my teachers and professors told me that I should just cut down. But now, frigate, I'm going back to the basics, going back to what got me to the dance. And that's why I'm not a writer, and you're the writer. And that's why I'm not a teacher. You're the teacher, and I'm here.
Well, shame on them for telling you that.
I'm happy they did. We got to Rhino. We got to Savio Vega. We got to you. So I'm definitely very appreciative that they did those things. Trust me, I could not be a professor. This is not going to work. So you just hang on to that. You give that treatment to Wyatt Black in a few minutes. But I'm very grateful that my professors, whether it's Professor Singer, Professor Schulman, whether it was Mrs. Spreen, all my teachers in English and high school and college said my writing wasn't that great, because I wouldn't be here doing this. So trust me, I'm very happy about that. So how are we doing today before we talk about the WVWF and LAW and, whatever else out there? How are you feeling here on a Wednesday night?
I'm all right. I mean, it's a sad world since R-Truth got released. We're just trying to make it through.
Is that real? I mean, because I admitted on Sportswire a couple of times I haven't watched Raw on Netflix, not once so far. So, is that real? What's going on there with R-Truth? I'm not to ask, but
it's apparently real. They didn't renew his contract.
It can't be real. It can't be.
It's a shame. It's a sad, sad world.
Well, I mean, boy, I guess maybe things are really bleak in the numbers there financially to cut a man that was just last I checked right in a main event storyline. Boy,
with John Cena, and that was incredible. That was such a storyline.
Well, and they cut him. I guess maybe that Netflix money isn't as good as it was. Maybe the pay-per-view or premium live events, they call them now, aren't as good. I guess. I mean, boy. I mean, if it's true, you're saying it's not, it's real.
That from everything that I've seen, it's real, and that's just very sad.
Well,
R-Truth is a national treasure.
He's a Hall of Famer. He'll definitely be in the WWE Hall of Fame. He'll definitely be remembered as one of the all-time great character workers. I think he's technically won the most championships of anybody in WWE history. Hardcore 24/7 champion. Those tag team titles, U.S. titles. So he's won the most championships, technically.
He was the first black NWA champion.
I did not know that. Well, didn't Ron Simmons win the world title, though, first?
Well, Ron Simmons was the first, black world champion, but I think R-Truth was the first, NWA champion.
Oh, so we're talking about the early beginnings of TNA, right? When they were the NWA still? Is that what you're referring to, right? Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Who would have guessed
Pretty
Ron
sure.
Killing? Ron the Truth Killings was the first NWA champion. Boy, I did not know that. I was a really fascinating stat there. Who would have guessed that? Boy.
It's something like that, and I apologize if I'm wrong,
No,
but it's
not at
something
all.
big like that.
Well, I mean, that'll certainly make people forget about K Quick. I mean, let's get rowdy here. Let's move some things. We're going to definitely
That
move
was
some
the
things.
greatest. Oh, I used to play that song so much.
Well, don't play it here because
The
I'll
hottest
really
thing
get thrown
going
off
into
the
a bowl of grits. Like, that was great.
Well, we'll move on to some things here and talk about the WVWF. I could say though that maybe this gives us a chance to see R-Truth in LAW now. He's going to be a free agent. Maybe
That
there's
would be awesome.
I mean, maybe the council can work on that. Maybe we can have R-Truth come to Parkersburg. I mean, I know he's not too far away in North Carolina. I'm just saying.
That would be incredible.
And that would be a different kind of truth. No pun intended to the last Van Halen album. But let's move on here because I know I could talk a lot about this. But like I said, I haven't watched Raw once on Netflix. I don't have Netflix. Not getting Netflix anytime soon. But I am most certainly ready, Courtney, to talk about a number of things here. And let's talk about the WVWF first because you were there. You were there at Metal Mayhem this past Saturday. And I want to talk about it because for those that are listening and watching in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, Courtney, LAW, WVWF, and everywhere else you've been have certainly most helped build Sportswire Radio to the tune of over 1,500 subscribers. I guess you might want to say revenge was best served cold when it came to one Wyatt Black.
He got exactly what was coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
I applaud Riku St. Helen for her restraint. That's just me. She went out there. This kid hijacks the show, demanding a rematch as if he'd done anything to earn one. And then Riku came out and kicked his ass. It was great.
I mean, he's still saying that in the record books, he counts as the youngest hybrid champion, but then he also mentioned in his promo that he's the shortest reigning hybrid champion. But we don't have a confirmation of yet in the record books. And you've said no. He's still telling everybody that he's the youngest hybrid champion in history. I mean, I'm still perplexed at that. And I know he's in bed right now because it's a school night. So I know that's he can't really tell us or defend himself.
How is there any confusion? I literally write the history books. I write the record books. How is there any confusion?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he said it on, obviously, I'm going to put it up here in a minute or two. I'm going to put up what his promo was and also talk about, again, maybe the match you mentioned with Riku St. Helen. I think I finally got it right. But, I mean, there's no question that he believes that he was a champion and he talked about some things, but he was interrupted, which we'll get to shortly.
He can believe whatever he wants to believe. That doesn't make it true.
Well,
he believes he can grow a beard. That's obviously not true.
Well, I don't think the haircut really has served him well so far. I think the haircut is so you're not a fan of the haircut.
No. And his weird sudden refusal to wear a shirt, like every choice he's making is wrong.
Well, he would be going against what Tommy Horror said here on Sunday's show. You got to look like a wrestler. You got to look the part. You got to be in shape. We had D Savage on here Monday night who's wrestling Tommy Invincible. I don't know if you know Tommy Invincible. He's a big deal. Man, he has 130,000 followers on Instagram. He wrestled Matt Cardona in GCW, and he's on a tour to get a match with John Cena at SummerSlam. He's a massive deal. And D Savage was talking about how you've got to be in shape. You've got to go out there and look the part. You don't want to get gassed out there. And then we've got Wyatt Black, taking the shirt off there, looking as if, well, he definitely didn't listen to those episodes, or even what Gary Wolf had to say, the legendary Gary Wolf, who said, you've got to look good out there. You've got to look like a wrestler. And Wyatt Black definitely didn't take the advice of those names.
You're going to make me defend Wyatt Black, aren't you?
No,
I feel like that is very outdated, bodybuilding, obsessive type of thinking. Because just because you look the part does not make you the part. Like, Look at Lex Luger and how disappointing he was. But he looked amazing, didn't he? But
Yeah,
then look at
yeah.
Dustin Rhodes, and he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe what they were trying to say, at least Mr. Horror's point, is you want to be able to not be gassed out. I think Tommy's point was one of that. Gary's was if you, I think Gary and Savage are looking at if you're a TV character, which I think it is a point that you want to look like you can be on TV. And if you're going to go to places, maybe that's a point for a different time. But Wyatt Black is still, I would still say respectfully, not in the same category as one Lex Luger and the body shape wise. But hey, maybe he'll continue to prove everybody wrong. As in his words, he continues to say that he's the youngest hybrid champion in I guess history, and maybe a history of all history. But definitely a packed crowd here, at least, thank God, at 325 7th Street in Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Yeah, we had a lot of people there. It was very cool.
It was a great crowd. And how was the pepperoni roll?
Amazing as always.
I
That's like
actually,
the only good thing about that state.
well, I love West Virginia on the record. We love the state of West Virginia on this platform. We are very grateful that the WVWF has granted us access to this footage, and I'll have an announcement. A couple of them related to the WVWF in a little while here, but Wyatt Black seemed like he had other ideas. Well, he's being interrupted by somebody that he put on the shelf a few months ago, and I know you and many others in the Richardson building were very happy to see this.
I was so happy to see her back. I've never really talked about this, but when I
Talk
see Riku hates St. Helen, I kind of see me. Because if I had
why?
started wrestling when I was her age, that's what I would be like. So I
In
kind of like a kindred connection to her. And for her just to walk in and fight Wyatt Black just made me so happy.
Is it that maybe her attitude, maybe somebody that kind of goes against the grain, somebody
Yeah.
that is very independent minded, and you see a lot of yourself in her?
Yeah.
No,
I
that's a
couldn't have said it better.
well, and certainly she's no fan of Wyatt Black, so that's obviously one of the main reasons why you see a kindred spirit in yourself with her.
Yeah, I'm just happy she saw Wyatt Black for what he is, because for the longest time she was the only one that was on his side,
Yeah,
and for
yeah.
whatever reason he decided to throw that away. Like, if you're Wyatt Black, you can't afford to throw friends away.
Well, he doesn't seem like to have many right now. He doesn't seem like to have really of anybody. I mean, obviously, maybe it's the haircut, maybe it's just who he is. I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to be a guy that's the controversy king, and well, I mean, the only thing that's right now creating controversy is what he does and how he looks, not rather than what he's done in the record books. Because according to your point as a historian, he's never been a WVWF hybrid champion. Just want to confirm
He
that.
hasn't.
Well, he definitely
He
didn't
can
want to
say
wrestle.
all he wants. I don't care.
Well,
Never happened.
he didn't want to wrestle here, by the way. He didn't want to wrestle Riku St. Helen after everything he did to her to put her out on the shelf. And he did proclaim here and other places that she would never come back. She would never come back. She would be gone for good. Well, have no fear because she's back.
Well, in his defense, that was a very brutal attack. He slammed a car door in her head.
That's not nice.
So, if I were him, I would have banked on her never coming back either.
Well, I'm glad that she's back. I'm glad that she's safe and healthy and she's ready to go out there in the ring. And there's no question that revenge is definitely best served cold. And we've got a referee that Wyatt Black was upset about.
Yeah, that's Riku's dad.
Well, that would definitely make
That he has
a lot of
been very much disrespecting. And that poor man has had to watch his daughter get attacked time and time again.
well, now he's going to certainly I'm sure, do his best. Although there is a spot in the match that kind of ties into that, which toward the end. But I'm not gonna tell anybody yet because there are people here that are watching it for the first time. But she gets off to a strong start. You can tell that she's motivated, and she comes out here pretty well.
Oh yeah, she just went right after him, swinging, stomping mud holes in him. Like she was getting out her frustration.
I could see
It was
why. I mean,
great.
I could definitely see why. There's no question that a lot of pent up rage, a lot of emotion here, big crowd, definitely very favorable crowd, and there's no question that she is using that to her advantage. But Wyatt Black is, I don't know why he's trying this move, but he's trying it to no avail.
I mean, you
And that
got to give the kid credit. He tries.
trying, but hasn't succeeded so far. But I'll leave that for a different point, a different conversation. But he is working on his punches, and he's at least avoided what could have been major damage to him. And now he's damaged the returning Riku St. Helen. And there's no question that this has given him an opportunity. And you could see her father's very upset there. You could see that he doesn't want to see his daughter go through this again at the hands of someone like a Wyatt Black, a controversy king, nevertheless.
No, could you imagine being her dad, being so proud of your daughter out there living her dreams, just to be attacked by this asshole? Like that can't be an easy position for him to be in.
But yet he wanted to be the referee. Could you have said that because of some of that and what happened a few months ago, maybe he shouldn't have been the referee in this match? I mean, Wyatt Black certainly didn't want him to be the referee, and maybe that is a point that should be made here.
Well, Wyatt Black didn't want the other guy to be a referee,
I
the
know.
referee either. So he sent that guy away thinking, oh, well, if there's no referee, there's no match. Well, he didn't realize that Riku and Double L had already talked about having Carl, Riku's dad, be the ref. So, like, this was already planned. And if he hadn't been arrogant and tried to cut corners, that would have never happened. He did that to himself.
Well, he did a number of things, and he does use some kind of nice work there outside the ring, and he uses that to his advantage to get down Riku St. Helen, and that's going to certainly leave a mark. And Riku St. Helen's going to have to recover here, and Wyatt Black, and we'll watch the match here. We'll watch it play out because, well, I'm sure Courtney's going to have plenty to say about this. And Wyatt Black doesn't waste too much time. There's smart tactic. Maybe he's learned something of late. And maybe that's a reason why he's been successful. Not sure how he's won sometimes, but he has been successful in the record books. And he's really making Riku St. Helen pay there for some of her mistakes.
The only mistake she made was choosing a bad person to be a friend to. Being a
Well,
nice person is the only
he didn't
mistake
know.
Riku.
He didn't know. She was just trying to be somebody who's got a good heart. And that's certainly like you. You have a good heart. You always care about everybody. You're always caring. And that's why you and her are kindred spirits. You're both very caring and just good people to be around. And maybe that's why Riku St. Helen she didn't know better.
She tried to be a good person, tried not to listen to everybody that told her how bad of a person he is. She didn't want to believe it.
Oh, well, she did. Now she does. And well, now she definitely knows. But Wyatt Black is certainly using some of what he's certainly applied in previous matches to his advantage. And he's got Riku St. Helen right where he wants her. And obviously, Wyatt Black has a lot on his mind. And, well, that was certainly a miss. That was swing bad about it. That was bad.
Stupid.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really kids don't try this at home. That was definitely swing bad about it, swing bad about her, and he missed. That he definitely missed and summoned. Riku St. Helen, nice
But
little
she didn't.
what?
She didn't miss.
No, she didn't miss. No, she had a nice little splash there, and she was able to get a count. And but Wyatt Black does what he's done many times: is he rolled out of the ring, and he's buying himself time, and he's definitely hearing it from the vocal crowd there in the Richardson Building at 325 7th Street in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Which you were there. You had a front row seat, and you, I am sure, were ready to go out there. And if you could have been that sixth person that even made that crowd louder for Riku St. Helen, but Riku St. Helen certainly recovers, and nice little move.
Oh,
It was a really nice move there, by the way. Very well done. Very well done.
yeah.
And that's even another
I
nice little
was
splash.
really, yeah, that's very resourceful.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, she's got some good offense there, and she's definitely somebody that I wouldn't want to go mess with, and she's definitely got a couple of months off out of the ring, and certainly at the hands of Wyatt Black, and she's using that to her advantage. Almost kind of looks like a younger Mickey Knuckles. What's your thoughts on that? Kind of a younger, looks wise, like a younger Mickey Knuckles.
I never thought about that, but you make a strong case.
Well, I
Now
mean,
I'm
I was doing
like
legal
that.
work before I came on the air. That's kind of that's what I was doing for an hour and a half, and it was just made me very methodical, and I'm never methodical. So there you go. But that could be, who knows? Maybe that's a future. But Wyatt Black is doing what he shouldn't do. Yeah, that he shouldn't be doing that. He should attack his opponent a little bit more. That's not going to help him win this match.
He just wanted to disrespect her and embarrass her dad. Like, that's all that was.
Well, that's not the way to go. Certainly, we don't encourage that on Sportswire, and that's obviously why Wyatt Black is going to what eventually meets his fate in this match. But Wyatt Black is going outside the ring here, and he's going on the top rope. I mean, this is definitely full of controversy here. He is going onto the top rope, and I mean, this is definitely something you don't see every day from Wyatt Black. And he's obviously going for it. He definitely wants to fly frequent flyer miles, and that's what he gets for going. And thankfully, he didn't connect. Because if he connected on that, Riku St. Helen, Courtney, I mean, we could be talking about her not just out for a few months, maybe out for the rest of the calendar year. So thankfully for everybody, and certainly Riku St. Helen's dad, that Wyatt Black did not connect on that.
You know who would have landed that move? Michael McMoney II.
Well, that's a great point, but obviously I'm instructed not to go there. So I am definitely not going there, but you can go there, Courtney. I definitely can't. But the good news is that we can still watch this match, and I'll put the WWF YouTube page up here right afterwards. And Daddy's counting, and he's been impartial so far, but wait a minute there. Wait a minute. I see what he did there. What's your thoughts on that?
What are you talking about?
He helped her get up.
He was checking on her. That's his job as an official.
Yeah. Well, it certainly looked to me like maybe he helped her out a little bit, but let's get to the count. 1, 2, and look at that. Now, don't you think referees need to be impartial? I mean, he was visibly upset. I mean, that was perfectly legal. Wyatt Black could put his hand on the ropes to break up a pin, and Riku St. Helen can't win the match.
So he's not allowed to have emotions now? That doesn't seem fair.
Referees, from what I have seen, most of the time don't have those kind of emotions. He may want to sing the locomotion, but that'll be next week's guest, Mark Farner, who came up with the locomotion. But there's no question that the train kept it rolling with Wyatt Black, because he had a pretty much nice little mini missile drop kick there, and he's come right back up. He's come right back up here, and he's got his feet, he's got his gatherings up for him, and he's motioning that it's time. It's motioning for another big win. It's another victory, fam. Another victory in the record books. And we're going to continue to talk about this amazing run. And it's all about to come to an end here. And say, wait a minute. Oh, not again. Not again, Courtney. This always happens in Wyatt Black matches. Here we go again. Here we go again. It's the same story, but yet a different match. It just seems like it's Wyatt Black finding ways, the veteran instinct that has carried him with victory after victory, especially over the likes of Wildcat and Damian Abel, Judo Jones. Wait a minute. He's got that chair. He's got that chair. He's got the chair. And it's going to hurt. Oh! That's good. Don't try this at home. That is painful. Oh. That's like my eyes after looking at 100 pages of legal documents today. Oh, my God. It's over. And no, he can't do this. This could be the end of Riku St. Helen's career. Courtney, this is why you don't want to be a kindred spirit of Riku St. Helen's, because it's going to be concerto time. Listen, we're going to need some medical attention. We're going to need some help. This one's over. This one is in the books. And It's over. You could see it here. You could see it. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you,
That's
God.
exactly what I would have done.
And you would have done
Right
that. You
below the
definitely would have.
belt.
And you know what? That's why I never mess with you, Courtney. I am always so grateful you come on here, and we are so grateful you are here with us. And wait a minute. Now, she's got to put this down. This match should be thrown out. It's a disqualification victory here over Wyatt Black. Shouldn't this be a disqualification victory for Wyatt Black, the controversy king?
Referee's discretion.
Well, apparently this was some strong discretion here because, I mean, usually what happens here, and it's happened in many Wyatt Black matches here in the WWF, he wins by DQ, but yet the referee goes down, but sort of goes down to his own will, and, well, it looks like now Wyatt Black is about to meet, he's about to meet his maker here when it comes to this match because, boy, down goes Wyatt Black, and I think we've seen this before, and it's concerto time, Courtney. Get ready, because we're about to say it's all she wrote, to quote Firehouse, and it's going to be one, ooh, two, one more for the road, three. There's no way that Wyatt Black can withstand that damage. He has been lucky in many of his matches, but this has to be over, Courtney. This has to be over. 1, 2, 3, and what a comeback, and what a way to open Metal Mayhem. You know, Courtney, this was, and I'm sure you caught my hype video here a little while ago to introduce you coming on. This was kind of like the fitting way to title Metal Mayhem because we saw plenty of Metal Mayhem, and, well, Wyatt Black was part of that mayhem.
He got exactly what he had coming to him. He earned every one of those chair shots.
Well, he definitely got them, and he's feeling them. And, yeah, that match is over, and we're going to talk about Riku St. Helen in a minute. But while you're here, because I see a bunch of people on YouTube, we're going to get to the chat in a few minutes. I promise you, we're going to get to you. I do want to plug the WVWF's YouTube page, because if you are here and you watch this match, you can find out more of what the WVWF has to offer. In a few minutes, I'm going to have an announcement related to a WVWF champion coming onto Sportswire Radio, Courtney, in your chair. So I'm going to definitely get to that, but that's the WVWF. That's the YouTube page. Go out there and check it out. We'd appreciate this. And there you go. So Riku St. Helen gets a big victory, Courtney, and I know you're very happy about that, but Riku St. Helen's evening wasn't done technically there this past Saturday, and tell us a little bit about it.
No, I just want to say how amazing it was to see her beat Wyatt Black.
I knew you'd be happy opening the show with this. I knew you'd be happy with that.
She needed that, and so did her dad. Like, they needed that revenge and that retribution. Because you can't just go around acting the way Wyatt Black does. But I was very excited for her later on in the evening challenging Jade May for the WVWF Women's Championship.
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about her a few weeks back. So what do you think happens there?
They beat the crap out of each other.
Do you think that Riku St. Helen can ride this wave, ride this full of momentum to maybe pick up the WVWF Women's Championship? Boy, what a story. What a comeback story. Basically, after her career being nearly ended by Wyatt Black to now all of a sudden being on top of the food chain, figuratively and literally top of the mountain, the women's mountain in the WVWF. I mean, that's certainly such a story there. What's your thoughts? That
would be an incredible story. Let's never get it twisted. At the top is Phoebe Harper,
yep,
even though Jade May has the championship, at the top is Phoebe. Let's never forget that. But no, I think given Jade May and Riku's history, like I said, they're just going to beat the crap out of each other. Jade has been waiting on Riku, and Riku's been biding her time, and now she finally gets her opportunity.
So you think that we'll see this very soon here coming up in the WVWF?
I don't think Jade's going to just let Riku come out, challenge her, and let that go unanswered.
Jade's not that kind of person. She'll have to answer. She'll certainly answer strongly. And we'll see what happens there. But Phoebe Harper is eventually going to come back and take this championship, from what I'm sure you're going to certainly be telling us to count on.
It's inevitable.
Okay, it's inevitable, but quite a return for Riku St. Helen. But Wyatt Black, he wasn't done according to the WWF Facebook page because, as always, he has plenty of words still. You know and I know. He's always lurking. He's still got some words, I gathered.
Are you talking about the video where he was whining and everybody just came up and told him he was, yeah.
Pretty that one, yes.
I was so mad I was not available for that.
Why
like,
weren't
where
you,
was I?
Why weren't you that? I would have thought you would have been the first person there to greet the controversy King Wyatt. But I mean, to me, he's mentioned you, he's name dropped you several times on Sportswire. He's talked about you in promos. You were brought up when he started the show with this promo. So I would have thought you would have been there. Maybe was that for his safety? You weren't there to greet him.
You would think. If it wasn't me, I'm glad it was Phoebe. Phoebe was first, as always, and as she should be. But I was just a little insulted because, like, if we're having a I hate Wyatt Black conga line, why was I not invited?
Maybe you don't do the conga?
For that, I would. Just for that very specific instance, I would.
But it sounds like to me he's going back to the line. After what happened to him at Metal Mayhem, and now after that, he's back of the line, and who knows where, who knows what he's going to do.
He lost. Like, he lost his chance at the Hybrid Championship. He lost against Riku St. Helen. Back of the line, Junior.
I'm glad you... We're going to get to the chat in a minute because I want to say hello to some people. There's people here I haven't seen in a while. But let me ask you, though, this question. Speaking of people, now, tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the man that actually is the hybrid champion, the one and only James Enoch. He's here. He's here on Sportswire Radio. He had plenty to say at Metal Mayhem. You were there, and I'm sure he's going to have, a lot to say, not only about that championship. He may even give a word or two about Wyatt Black, but he is here. And what's your thoughts on that? Let me ask you, what is your thoughts on James Enoch?
He has got a lot of explaining to do.
I was confused a little bit by what he said there.
He was speaking in riddles. And it's obviously a bigger story than we know right now. But he's just trying to manipulate Damian Abel by saying, hey, I know, given our past and given everything, I know you want to fight me, but the man you really want to fight is Aaron James. No, like, you're deflecting. The only reason Damian Abel would want to fight Aaron James is to be champion. And that's what everybody should strive to do. But he's trying to get out of the emotional accountability for everything that he's been doing. So you're going to have to ask the hard questions and see if we can get...
Listen, I got that. But, certainly the mood he was in this past weekend, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked, and we'll do it. And I wonder, though, what kind of mood James Enoch's going to be in. I think that's a big question here tomorrow night. From what we saw, I don't know.
It's tough because I don't know if he really wants to fight Damian Abel. Because, like, you had him fight the Ram, who was up until Saturday undefeated.
Yep.
So, like, you put in a really massive roadblock in front of him. So maybe that was his plan. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. He's obviously has some bigger picture thing going on. So it's going to be interesting to see what he has to say.
Very curious because this is the first time he's here. This is the first time he's done an interview of any sorts. It's the first time in his career that he's done an interview. So it'll be fascinating to see what kind of frame of mind that he's in. And there's no question we're going to get those opportunities to ask him that. And again, just to me, from what I saw this past weekend, I think a lot of people are confused, and obviously we'll see what happens. And Aaron James, you brought up. I mean, somebody you've certainly had plenty of history with, and plenty of mixed feelings about. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, I'm going to ask him about that as well.
It's not mixed feelings, it's being let down. I believe in
Yep.
Aaron James so much. Chaos incarnate, that is my champion. And he sat there and became corporate, I'm gonna film stuff behind the scenes guy. And that, Aaron James, if you ever see this,
Yes.
that is why Ryan Steele beat you up. The old Aaron James would have saw that coming a mile away. But because he's preoccupied with doing all this other stuff behind the scenes, they got the jump on him.
So the Institute, don't ask about the Institute. I mean, you think about the Institute, right? You mentioned some names already. Jade May's a part of that. You talked about her. I mean, I can certainly see why you're Team Phoebe Harper, but I've got to bring up the Institute here. I've got to bring that up and ask about that, and I'm sure he'll have hopefully some answers.
I would not hold my breath on that. The Institute is very tight-lipped. They obviously have some kind of plan, like I said. And I don't know how many answers about that specifically you're going to get, but maybe, James can talk about why he was attacking Damian Abel, somebody that
Well,
he was very close to.
maybe there's something that we don't know about. Maybe, well, after all, he's a gunslinger. When you're a gunslinger, you
Valley.
you make decisions, you react because your opponent's coming for you, even if it's those that you think could be right with you and standing next to you. So sure, maybe they could have had that relationship, but he's the gunslinger. He's the man that pulls the trigger when anybody else wouldn't. And he knew, he could see, he could have that sixth sense. That's what gunslingers are, and that's what's led him to where he is. And he's going to be here tomorrow night to address some of that.
That's a very interesting point. I mean, how do you see Damian Abel and not see a threat? So maybe your line of thinking was he decided to take that threat out before
you might
something
as
bad.
well. I mean, that's why he's the Chemical Valley gunslinger. And that's why he's the man, not Wyatt Black. That's the hybrid champion.
Exactly.
Well, we're gonna have to find out. I mean, Michael McMoney's around the corner, and he talked about here that hybrid championship still. I could bring that up for a minute. That he still has unfinished business there. I mean, what's your thoughts on that for a second?
Of course he has unfinished business. He wants to be Grand Slam champion.
And he said still that is something that he said nothing has changed. Michael McMoney's here on Sportswire Radio next week. I know you'll be watching that. I know that you'll be tuned in. You'll be certainly taking your notes, taking your pen and paper out, and you'll do a better job writing a report than I would. That's why I'm here. You are there. But there's no question that he's going to be paying attention maybe more closely than anybody else you think tomorrow. I think Michael McMoney is going to be paying attention more than anybody else to what the Chemical Valley gunslinger James Enoch has to say tomorrow night.
You think you become the West Virginia GOAT by not doing your homework? Of course he's going to pay attention, and he's going to dissect everything that James Enoch says to figure out the best way to beat him. See, I know Michael McMoney very well, and even though things did not go his way against Wyatt Black, there's a certain side of him, the not very nice part of him, that respects how Wyatt Black was able to defeat him. And you interviewed him right after that happened. He's not complaining. He's not making excuses.
He's moved on from Wyatt Black, and he's like, look, that's over with. For me, in a way, it wasn't the worst thing to happen because I didn't lose the title in the finals. I didn't square off with Enoch. And I got basically my plan still going to happen. They're going to still go according to it. And when the time is right, I'm going to strike. He's going to strike. I mean, and that's the mindset of a gunslinger. I think it's so fascinating that James Enoch is here tomorrow night. It is going to be an episode you will not want to miss on Sportswire Radio. I'm going to get to the chat, but one more time, I can't stress it enough because Courtney does write the reports for the show. Hank Hudson didn't write this one. In fact, Hank Hudson said, you know what? I'm not going to write this one. I want Courtney to do it because even though I've been doing this for decades, everybody knows that Courtney's doing a better job right now than Dave Meltzer. A lot, maybe in some ways, she does better writings and more knowledgeable, and Wade Keller has nothing on Courtney. That's why Hank passed the baton off to Courtney. But hit the sub button here for the WVWF YouTube page. I would really appreciate that. Let's get to the chat, Courtney. They've been waiting for this for a while, and I want to say hello to some people. I want to say hello to one of my buddies here, Mr. Blaze the Bingo Hole, Young Lurch, and he lives in West Virginia, but the other side of West Virginia. And he covers some wrestling. His dad was an independent wrestler, and he does a podcast. He doesn't do the intros like me. He doesn't obviously have the over the top yet. He doesn't have to. His dad was a wrestler, and he just interviewed Just Incredible. Check it out. He just interviewed a couple different. He interviewed Just Incredible. Yes, he did. Congratulations to him on that. He's got a YouTube page. I'm going to put it up here now. He's also interviewed a buddy of mine, Mr. Ace Christian, up and coming wrestler. Obviously, a guy that. He is very well known on this platform here. If you know Ace Christian, he has been a staple on Sportswire Radio. And Ace has got a great background, a great resume. He'll be back on Sportswire Radio next month. But if maybe you're tired of me and want to just watch Blaze the Bingo Hole, talk about different wrestlers, and maybe it's time to move on and have no more of the theatrics, maybe less of the intros. No, I'm only kidding. We're not going anywhere. Trust me, I'm booked till the next 10 years. So I'm sure we'll be here. Yeah, I'm literally booked until next year. So don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. People are really going to have heart attacks now. I already got one DM on Instagram. Where are you? I'm here. Don't you worry. I'm here. But that's Blaze the Bingo Holes page. Give him a sub. Check him out. Maybe if you get tired of this, you can go watch us. Zilla's here. Zilla's first. She's first in line, not last in line like the late, great Ronnie James Dio. Zilla is definitely our Ronnie James. Yes, Ronnie James Dio, great man. By the way, from upstate New York, Ronnie James Padavana. Padavana was his last name. But we'll move on because I'm not Italian. Ox McCoy, another man that always is like, where am I? And he's going to be very excited to know I got some IMF coverage, and he's going to like this one because Friday night, I have the man that Ox McCoy just wrestled, Kato. Now, Kato is also a guy with controversy, but he's the controversial one. And Kato, listen, he's real. He goes out there. These guys go out there and, what they do with and put their bodies where, Wyatt Black, I mean, certainly he'd have to really go to the back of the line. Like we always say, Wyatt Black wouldn't want any part of the likes of Kato and who Ox McCoy just wrestled and Anthony Steele, who was in the chat yesterday. And yeah, so Ox McCoy is going to definitely be tuned in Friday night because I'm going to have on Kato, the controversial one, Kato, who's been in IWA, Deep South, Carnage Cup, and a number of different places. And I'm excited Kato's back, and definitely tune into that one. Good one for you. Good comment. This is going to be a good show. You got my wrestling mom on there, Courtney. Oh my God. She will keep saying he got till 5. Like, oh my God. I couldn't figure out what the last part is, but I mean,
that's my signature. Whenever you hear somebody in the crowd yell, he has till 5, that's me.
Oh, okay. I was confused. What's the...
Yeah. I'm the only wrestling fan with their own catchphrase.
Wow, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me? You've been coming on here every month for 3 months. Why haven't you said anything?
But yeah, that's one of my sons, Jake.
So the saying is that you got till 5. That's the saying.
Yeah, when you get choked and the referee makes it till 4, you yell, he has till 5. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it has to be at 4, or else it doesn't count.
Ah, well, I was first thinking, well, there's a song. I got 5 on it. I got 5. Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, please don't do that again. Okay, I won't embarrass you. I was here buying you time because I needed to get the link up and I didn't do it yet. Thank you, Zilla. Hello to everybody. And how's it going tonight? Yes, I'm excited. The IMF, all of the IMF guys are here Thursday, and we have Kato here Friday, who's kind of by proxy IMF. And I'll have another IMF spot coming up here soon, but everybody's good. And I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Mad Dog Dan Moore, from our friends in the great state of Pennsylvania, who've wrestled in Rocky's Pizza in West Virginia from Enterprise and Amplified Pro Wrestling. Love my Enterprise and Amplified family. Good to see them. And yeah, Eric Black. Maybe I shouldn't bring up Eric Black to him, and Kid Mike and Van Hansen. But did you crank the volume down? Did you crank that volume down?
Way to call me out, Ox McCoy. Thank you. I didn't want Corey Taylor to get scared. That's all.
Okay. Well, for that one, I'll give you that. I got a sound box now. There you go.
You're my friend. I love you, but that's my kitten. I gotta protect my baby.
We got that. So is your cat as vicious as what they say Tommy Horror's cat? The real question is not anybody else, but
no, my kitten is a striped angel. He's a perfect little baby, never done anything wrong in his life. So Brody is a word that you don't like me saying, so I won't say it.
All right, so the face then matches Tommy Horror's face then. Horror, get it?
Yeah. That's why that cat's a jerk.
Well, Mr. Horror will be back on Sportswire next month, and I'm sure we'll have plenty.
You should see if Brody will come on there.
Well, D Savage was here Sunday. His dog was in the background. He brought his cat on for a minute. He did. So you never know. We're pet friendly on Sportswire. I rescued 2 dogs before once, just randomly. I rescued 2 dogs randomly. Yeah, But I'm not a dog rescuer. I'm not. What was the show? It was the dog rescuer. I remember the show in the chat. It was a dog rescuer. It was Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm not Dog the Bounty Hunter. But yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, my intros were different. My intros. You can go back even further on my SoundCloud page. I should probably play one of those intros. It would be yeah. WWE should be ashamed of themselves by releasing R-Truth, Carlito, The Miz, Karrion Kross, and Gunther. Is that true? They released all those names?
R-Truth and Carlito, yes. Miz, Karrion Kross, and Gunther just removed every connection to WWE off their social media. Miz and Karrion Kross, their contracts are about to be up. I don't know anything about the Gunther situation.
Oh, okay, because I was like, Gunther? That's a surprise to me. I mean, The Miz, well, he's hung around a lot longer than anybody else would have gave him credit. That wouldn't surprise me. Karrion Kross, I can go either way on him. I can go either way. I haven't watched Raw on Netflix once, so I mean, I'm the last person to be filled in on this. Speaking of people that I haven't seen around here, James Taylor. James, of course, the legendary Nemesis, the ROVW owner, and also the host and owner of Taffy's Lounge page on YouTube, which you can play low hi-fi beats when you like to say hello to people. And maybe it's a good time to talk about this guy for a few minutes, because I'm going to break it here. You and I were talking off the air, is that next Saturday night, this guy, Chris Phoenix, is making his way to Sportswire Radio, and apparently he's going to be making some waves in LAW as a part of a tag team with a hype man. And what do you think about all that?
Well, full disclosure, totally biased.
All right.
Chris Phoenix is a fellow fan of Steel Panther. He's a fellow Panther. I don't know if he's ever said anything else to me that I've actually heard as much as that. Right. So I obviously have to love that. The Rare Bird teaming up with the hype man to be Team Cease and Desist, that's going to be amazing.
They could be making some waves in a tag team division that we know the Pattersons hold those titles, but for how long? I mean, for how long? I don't know.
I know that they're also going to make waves at WVWF.
Yes.
There is talks of a tag team tournament at WVWF.
And they were both on the show this past weekend.
Yeah. So that's probably what prompted them wanting to be finalized as a team, because they've been friends forever.
Well, I'm going to have this man on here next Saturday, and he's going to talk about that. He's going to definitely talk about what's going to go on and maybe what he does next, certainly in the WVWF, but definitely in LAW. I'm going to get to LAW because we have a lot to talk about there. And Mad Dog Dan Moore, the legendary Mad Dog Dan Moore, who is a legend, by the way, in the Pennsylvania wrestling circuits, did want to make the point that there's a difference on being in shape and being in ring shape. In ring shape, get it?
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but I would still rather be in Lex Luger's shape than Wyatt Black's shape. I'm sort of the in between. I'm the in between. I'm in shape, but I'm not Lex Luger's shape. But I'm in shape. But I'm in, I'm in the in between. I'm an in betweener.
So I'm not going to name drop anybody, but there
Okay.
is a wrestler that I know that looks the part. You would
Yes.
think carved in stone, everything else
Mm-hmm.
could not keep up. They were doing the blowout drills before training, doing all the cardio, and you would
Mm-hmm.
think, "Oh my gosh, this guy's built. He's going to kill it." Could not make it. He got gassed.
Well, then that's
Half
something on him.
seconds.
I don't know. That's a conversation he's got to certainly answer. And I mean, I don't know, but I'm gonna still say that. Thank you, Dan Moore, for the comment. I'm gonna wiggle my way out of that. I'm gonna certainly move. I'm gonna do the smart tactic and just step out of the ring there and say thank you very much for the comment. Speaking of people here, our whole monitor of Sportswire, he had a concussion, by the way. I don't know if he's trying to hit on you here, but certainly he's trying to hit on you there. I don't know about that, but he likes to say though, Justin Parsley, I love beautiful women being on Sportswire. Well, that's very kind. I mean, you are a beautiful woman. There's no question about that. But I don't know if the whole monitor should be saying that because, that being said, when are you thinking about bringing on the Viper Vixen? Um, next comment. See what I mean? That's why I wanted to let you go to the next comment. That's why we thank you very much for the kind words, and that's
I just
exactly
heard
why.
how beautiful. That's all I
And
needed to
that's
hear.
why I'm not doing a roast. There's no more roast. There's no roast. Now we had some good guests on, and we have Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad, and we have another big one coming up very soon. So we're gonna move out of the ring, and we're gonna take the smart tactic and say we'll cut the rough count. There's Mr. Phoenix. Who else we got? Yes, Justin Parsley is the King of Palo winner. He is one half of the IMF Tag Team Champions and the PWF Champion. And he'll have plenty to say. Should he remember some of this? Hopefully, with the concussion, he forgets his last comment he just made, and hopefully he'll remember that he should be here next Thursday as a part of his hall monitor duties because he did a bad job in his most recent appearances as a hall monitor. But that's okay. He was in a cage a couple of weeks ago, and he got a number on him. So let's just say we'll move on to the next comment. Speaking of people, that is going to be back here, by the way, and Godric Sandwell. And let me read this off. Ladies and gentlemen, angels and demons, you'll have to repeat the first word because I can't say it. Cambion. Salutations to all, including Miss Popular. So you are popular. You are popular. And speaking of Godric, what do you think about Godric coming up here? He's got a busy next few weeks. Godric is here on June 22nd. He's here in 18 days. But he's got two really big matches coming up here. He's got one against the Soul Taker. No souls matter. We'll see if Godric's souls matter. And then he's got coming up here right after that. He's got a match with an NWA champion, an NWA Midwest champion, and one the El Jaguar, Dante Casanova, over 2125 Beacon Street, McKeesport, PA, both nights. What's your thoughts on that?
Nobody deserves an NWA title shot more than Godric Sandwell. I'm so happy to see him in that position. He definitely earned it. As far as facing the Soul Taker, well, that might be the only time feuding with La El Shaddai is going to come in handy. Because
I
if you
brought
face
that up.
that kind
You
of
were listening
evil,
to Sunday's show. I'm glad that you brought that up, and I think that might be something that gives Godric some momentum here because of what he went through with La El Shaddai. He's also tag teamed alongside the Soul Taker, and he went
yeah.
through a lot to win that huge scramble match for LAW. So Godric's coming in here with momentum, and I know you were definitely disappointed with what Tommy Horror had to say because he said there ain't no more shots for Godric Sandwell. No shots matter when it comes to Godric Sandwell and that LAW. That was clever. That was clever. Working on stand-up
that was
comedy.
good. That was good.
So you must be disappointed about that at least, or not?
If I believed it. Because that whole time, Tommy never wanted Godric near La El Shaddai, and he did everything to keep them apart. So when Tommy says you don't get another shot, well, it's like, you didn't want him to have the other one, so I don't buy it.
Well, he made points though that were valid. Though is that he had his shot, he lost, and that he's not the number one contender. And it was great what he did for LAW, getting the victory and coming from behind, but The reality of it is that there are other people. It's a big roster here in LAW, and he brought up some names. He brought up
And
names like Day Jameson.
see, now that's another bias. I can't
Tough question.
respond to
You
that
see why it's a tough
objectively.
question. Yeah, those tough ones. It brought us Rhino here. It brought us Gary Wolf. It brought us Mark Farner at Grand Funk Railroad next week. So, yeah, he brought up Dave Jameson. He brought up other names. He even said Daniel Tafua, maybe, learn a little bit more and, get some wins. But there were other names brought up in the discussion. And Godric Samuels was one that Tommy Hara was having none of. None.
That's because he knows eventually Godric is going to beat La El Shaddai. He knows that, and he's scared of that fact.
But he feels like he doesn't have to give him a shot because Shaddai beat him already.
He also feels like he's the LAW heavyweight champion. Things aren't all right
That's
up
a great
there.
point you made because he talked about the fact that it's his mind that's helped La El Shaddai in his body keep that championship. And there is a point to that those brains, Tommy Hara's got one of the best brains out there in this sport. You and I both know that, objectively speaking. And if you'd want to have those brains of Tommy Hara, hell, I would love to have those brains. Anybody would. And that maybe is a reason why he can claim that LAW championship.
You claim the LAW heavyweight championship by getting in the ring and winning the LAW heavyweight championship.
Those brains have been in there inside to help him win.
Just because you are the handler or the manager of the champion does not make you the champion. Jim Cornette was never tag team champions when he was, just because you are the manager does not make you the champion.
Well, I think Jim Cornette was busy with the tennis racket. I think the tennis racket was obviously...
So wait, was Paul Heyman champion for like 7,000 days when Roman Reigns was champion? Is that just what we're doing now?
I would, in the words of Paul Heyman, I would have to ask his client that question. That would be my point on that. But certainly, Tommy Hara made it clear that he holds that championship because of the brains inside that have been given to La El Shaddai to reign supreme here in LAW. I mean, that's just his opinion. That's obviously, you would know better. You've been out there in 325 7th Street in the Richardson Building in Parkersburg, West Virginia. But he's adamant in saying, Godric, no dice. No more shots. No more. No more.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see how that plays out, won't we?
I think that's a great point, but I think, listen, and seeing what Godric has coming up here, the Soul Taker, and then right afterwards, the following week, same building, different day and time, he's got Joshua Kavad, and he's also got Dante Casanova. I mean,
that's going to be insane. That's going to be so...
coming on to Sportswire with the NWA Midwest Championship the next night. Could you imagine that?
That would be the best.
I mean, boy, we might have to give Godric just all night. We have to sing Lionel Richie all night long.
He'll do his little dance.
Didn't they do the conga in that video? Somebody here in the chat that maybe saw that video. Didn't they do the conga in that video all night long? I'm sure they did. I think they did. Lionel Richie could still probably do the conga. Maybe Godric's going to be doing that. Instead of being the devil in the blue coat, he's going to be singing all night. Instead of his music, where it comes, it's going to be Lionel Richie's instead. We're like Showtime at the house. Well, he might. I tell you what, but he's got his work cut out for him. Dante Casanova is the El Jaguar, and Joshua Kavad is definitely a man very, very well established, and it's going to be a tough one for him. Yes.
And I owe you a big thank you because I sent the clip of me talking about writing Joshua Kavad's story to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, ha! It's now on the internet. It is, you can't ignore it anymore. Yeah. And he goes, oh, you should have asked me earlier. I have been asking that man for a year and a half to let me do this. So it is in the works. It is coming.
If you would have came on Sportswire a year earlier, we would have had this done already. Only kidding.
I've asked him multiple times in person. I don't know why he was being so mean to me.
No, maybe he was just being humble. Maybe he was just being, I don't know, just maybe wanted to be more waiting for the right opportunity.
it is probably humble. Like, he probably doesn't understand what is so interesting about his story that I would want to tell it. But I know what it is. And hopefully, when I do get to tell it and you get to read it, you'll see why I've been pestering that poor man
And I
for as
can't
long
wait
as
to
I
read
have
it.
been.
And it better be on Slam's website. It better be on Slam Wrestling's website. It better be. If it's not, I'm gonna.
We'll see.
Well, I think it will
We'll
be. I
see.
definitely think it will be. I promise you it will be. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think that there's no question that it's long overdue, and man's gonna be an integral. He might be the wild card in that match. He might be the wild card in that match. That's just the one
He
thing I
always
would
is.
say about that. Well, and that's why we're very excited about it. Let me get to some more comments, and Godric will be here. And I was speaking about Godric also. One more point on him, because my guest Monday, D Savage, very impressive guy from Battlefield Pro Wrestling, and he also wrestles in 814 Wrestling. And Godric has met D Savage in person. Big guy. You probably saw the clips of him. Really big guy. Up and coming talent. Who's come a long way. He's even come a long way in his last appearance when he was here on Sportswire. In fact, I said to D Savage that, to me, he's a professional wrestler now. He's a professional wrestler. I put him in the same categories as Godric and Dave Jamieson. And, take a look at D Savage. Take a look at this guy when you're off the air, because Godric, that should be a guy he should wrestle. Maybe in LAW, maybe in Express, maybe in Excel Wrestling, because these two guys, it'd be a kind of match that I would definitely pay money to see for. And we talked a lot about Godric and this guy, D Savage. And he's a guy that's another up-and-comer, and it'd be a perfect opponent for Godric.
Well, if you're putting your stamp of approval on it, I'm not going to argue.
Oh,
You
you can
know what you're.
argue with it. Well, I don't know if I know. I don't know a lot about things. You're a great writer, and I tell you what, we'll put that link up for your page in a minute. I'm going to do that because you know what? I got to plug you. But hello to Godric. Want to say hello to Princess JD, who's been tuning in on X. Thank you for our X listeners. And she was happy. Justin Parsley was in the chat. She's a big fan of his. Zilla's a big fan of Wyatt Black. I know that's going to certainly give you some heartburn there. Understandably so. Definitely I could understand. But
It's a free country. She can be a fan of whomever
are
she
we really
wants.
free, though? I don't really notice I've gotten anything free lately in America. People keep saying it's a free country, but I haven't noticed
I'm
anything free.
trying to be nice and not insult Zilla. She's an amazing, very nice
She is
person.
wonderful. We love Zilla. Thank you, Zilla, for tuning in. That was Riku St. Helen. Yes, Riku St. Helen does look great. Yes, and we appreciate Riku St. Helen. Welcome back to her. Give a sub to the WVWF. We would really appreciate that further. You got a lot of comments here tonight, boy. And yes, I told you that. And I love my friends in EPW. Love my Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling family. And let me get to more comments from my wrestling family here on Sportswire. So there you go. But now Godric seems like he wants to consult with the Chemical Valley Gunslinger. Is that a good idea for him? I don't know if it's a good idea for Godric. He's busy right now. Maybe he should just forget about tuning in Thursday and not maybe consultate or consult with James Enoch, because who knows what kind of mood he's going to be in tomorrow.
Godric Sandwell's one of the most intelligent people. You gotta.
But wait a minute. But he didn't do so well in that Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader in the Indie Vision podcast, by the way. Just saying.
That doesn't mean anything. Those are shit. There's a reason why that is a game show.
You can say that word on Sportswire. You can say that word.
There's a reason why it's a game show. Everyone thinks like, oh yeah, I'm old. I can definitely be smarter than a fifth grader. But there's a reason why. And those questions are harder than you think.
Yeah, well, apparently he did the worst on there, though. But I tell you what, we'll forget about that because Courtney wrote an awesome article on the legendary late, great Daphne. You have to check this article out. I can't stress it. I got a lot of people here watching on YouTube. Go and check it out. Please support our friends, especially at Slam Wrestling. They were so kind and generous to allow us to share this content here. I didn't ask them. I just shared it. Certainly, like I said, working on a career in stand-up comedy because this ain't going any well tonight for me. I'm only kidding. It's a joke. But Daphne, read the article. It's a great article. And Daphne is somebody I have very fond memories of in WCW, growing up in Brooklyn, watching WCW at the tail end of it, also Impact Wrestling. And there was a Daphne figure, according to Michael McMoney. And, check it all out. But read the article, and we'll get to some more comments because Courtney's going to certainly turn me into Wyatt Black in a minute if I don't. It's a joke.
I'm
Thank you.
so mad I didn't know about that figure because I would have 100% stolen it from him.
Yeah, well, maybe let him know. Maybe consult with him about that figure, and maybe he'll give it to you. I don't know. You never know. Maybe he'll be.
He should. He
When's
knows how much.
your birthday? What's what? When's your birthday?
December 9th. The same
So
as Kurt Angle.
You got you're Pennsylvania, right? So you got 6 months. So let him know that's your birthday gift. I'm sure he'll give it to you. Show
He
him
knows
the
how
audio.
much it means to me.
And you show him that, or like you did to Mr. Kavad, and maybe that'll be your birthday gift. And you could say thank you, Tom, for being a good friend, and letting him know, Mr. McMoney, what your birthday gift should be, and give the WVWF a sub on YouTube for their birthday. Thank you. And Mr. Young Lurch is laughing. He thought it was funny. I'm glad somebody laughed at my jokes. Courtney, I did a show today covering news in Brooklyn, and my co-host, Mr. Heshi Tishley, you probably seen him on my stream, and he didn't think my jokes were that funny, but neither were his. So two wrongs don't make a right. That's okay. Two wrongs don't make a right. But give Blaze. Well, this left feels right. And somebody give me a $10. Oh, somebody gave me a thing here. And there you go. Nothing to see. Totally zero. No, I don't take bribes. We don't do bribes here on Sportzwire. If you'd like to come back on, you just message me. There's no bribes here. We don't need bribes, but we don't do bribes on Sportzwire. Just message me, and I'm sure we could work on that. We don't do bribes. I don't need the money. I'm a charitable man. But you want to come back on? I'll figure a date the next few weeks, and we'll take this off the screen. Yeah, we don't need bribes. We don't do bribes. But thank you, Mr. Mutz. I do appreciate it. I mean, listen, not saying no to it, but if you just message me and let me know, and let's get to some of the chats here. Here we go here. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, a lot of comments here. And Ox McCoy will be there for Cato. Hope you will be too. Reverend Tom Bryce, I know you should have come on the show. Jacob Wayne, who returned to BTW. Yeah, you never know. Everybody's always welcome. I can only do so much in one day, Courtney. I can only do so much in one day.
True. And
Justin Parsley is Dirtly the Greatest King of Palo winner because the last one was Sean Jovi, and he didn't do as well after that. We're gonna say stay tuned to that. I got this for you. Go to the LAW Facebook page, Legit Alternative Wrestling, and check it out. Right?
I will say, as far as I know, the next LAW show is going to be in July, and it is a benefit show for a Pittsburgh legend, Big. And I may get in trouble for saying this.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll mute you.
I'm going to say it anyway. Big himself has personally requested a battle royal. That is his favorite. I'm going to
pretend we never heard that. We're not showing that audio to council. If you're a council member and you're in bed right now, don't watch the show tonight. Just Courtney did not do a good job here tonight. I tried, and we even talked about off the air. We weren't going to talk about LAW's upcoming stuff, but yeah, forget it. You didn't hear that.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Fire me?
Cancel the show. They'll cancel the show, and we don't want that. We want LAW1.
They're not going to cancel the show. It's a benefit show for Big, Pittsburgh legend.
But they may not allow us to cover it.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, Pitbulls and Parolees. Yeah, Pitbulls and Parolees. What's the reference?
Oh, that was a good show.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Rescue dogs, please do. She's mad about Carlito and Truth. Yeah, I mean, the R-Truth one from an outside perspective doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense from an outside standpoint.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know what. Is it really good for business to cut somebody that's in a main storyline of Top Feud? I mean, I never heard this before. Unless there's something. Maybe there's something that maybe he's going to be on like a report of giving drugs out to somebody, or I don't know.
I really hope not. But I know that on Raw, like 3 of the matches were taken over with "We Want Truth" chants.
They're going to definitely get those, I'm sure. I don't know if he's got a contract for 30 days or 90-day holdout, but I'm sure somebody will sign him. Yeah, Carlito. I didn't really get the Carlito one either, but Carlito, has he even wrestled a match in WWE since he's been back? Like I said, I haven't watched Raw once on Netflix. Has he wrestled one singles match on Raw in like the last year? I don't know.
I don't think so, but his backstage work with the Judgment Day was just hilarious.
No, he was good. Listen, I love Carlito. I just think he didn't get much of a shot there. I don't think he got much of a anything there. But let me get to some more comments. Hello there to the All Wrestling Matters hardcore champion, Mr. Jake Dvorak, who's very impressive this past week over an Insanity Calamity 10. And, Jake was important because I don't know if you saw my Facebook page, but there was this guy, Joe Starr, and he was held captive. They put him in a cage. It was almost like the Soundgarden song, Rusty Cage. And, he's going to break. And, they literally broke him and they're holding him hostage. And, and that was his group, the DHC. And Jake was here a week and a half ago, and he'll be back, and everybody will be back on the Sportswire. We'll have to just be here 24 hours a day. He's one of the guys that wants me to be here 24 hours a day. We probably have the content for it. Speaking of legends, the legendary Doc Holliday is here. How you doing? Everybody's great. I'm glad. I have a lot of people here in the chat. We appreciate you. Hello, hello, hello. A lot of comments here. I'm the same way, Courtney. I work my cardio to no avail. So there you go. Somebody's agreeing with you. See, but you guys are the professionals. I'm not. Hello, Mr. Matsuda, you don't have to bribe me to come back on the Sportswire. You're always welcome back on. I don't really take bribes. In radio, it's illegal to take bribes. I mean, you're a teacher, right? So in radio, there was a thing in the '60s, the payola scandal. I don't know if you heard about it, but it was a big scandal. And we don't take bribes here on the Sportswire. Thankfully, we don't need to do that. But yes, we'll see you here very soon. We appreciate you. And hello, Mr. Mutz. I haven't seen him in a week or so or two in the chat. Speaking of people from Pennsylvania, this guy Chase Wakefield. I heard some things about him coming to Parkersburg. I'm saying no comment on them, but I've heard some things. I don't know, He also is having a wedding, by the way, a wedding invitational. Do you want to get married? Not want to get married. Do you want to show up at a wrestler's wedding? He's having a wedding invitational. He's having all these wrestlers wrestle. It's in Pennsylvania. Would you like to be invited to the Chase Wakefield wedding invitational?
No, not one single wrestling wedding has ever gone well.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that his wedding, it's going to be a disaster to his soon-to-be wife, Janie. It's going to be a disaster for him.
Statistically speaking, it's very likely.
This is turning into Loveline on Sportswire rather than you and me tonight. This is Loveline. Remember Loveline, Adam Carolla, and who was
yeah.
So you're telling him that he shouldn't have a wedding invitational with all the wrestlers wrestling, himself included, that maybe he should get married in a church, a private church somewhere, and just forget about all of it.
Keep that separate. Have your day, be happy. Don't involve any of that foolishness because it never goes.
I've been promoting it for like 6 months, so we should just tell everybody just ignore the footage, ignore all the tapes.
Elope.
I don't even know what that word means. I'm a reverend. What does that mean? You just get married like on a shotgun, like James Enoch, a gun.
You get married and don't tell anybody.
That's like James Enoch. Just be a gunslinger.
Yeah.
I have no experience in that. I've never been married. I don't know. I only went to one wedding in my life. My mother got remarried. I showed up in no suit and tie. It was right up the block from my house. I'm not getting married. I was like, all right, well, I'll just show up, and I left. Went back on Sportswire, I do things differently. I like to compare myself to like people like Jimmy Buffett and Sammy Hagar. I don't show up in suits and ties. My bank account should say I should be, but we don't do it here on Sportswire. No, we're the people. We're with the people. He should be a descent, may not have worked, but maybe ascension to the heavens. Thank you for the kind word. Yes, we appreciate Mr. Matsuda. We love our friends in Wrestling Zero, and we definitely appreciate them. Everybody's well. Everybody's good. Got a lot of comments here tonight. I'm still way behind. Definitely interested in seeing where this plays out. Well, I think he was referring to maybe Mr. Stanwell, maybe also Mr. Soul Taker and Godric. Maybe he was talking about the NWA Midwestern title. Maybe his own way to come to 325 7th Street in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Maybe, I don't know. Just if you do meet him.
We did cover a lot of topics.
I don't have to cover anything anymore. I just run with the chat for the next 20 minutes. But, speaking of if you ever get a chance to meet him, just to let you know, he's probably as skinny as a string bean. Literally.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think to let you know.
Okay.
He's and I'm excited about Wrestling Zero. Give a sub to Wrestling Zero. Check them out on Instagram. But what he's excited about is what I talked about, D Savage and Godric. I'm telling you, You look at this guy, D Savage. I'm telling you, where this guy, Jake Dvorak knows him very well. With this guy, in what 5 months he's done, he's been on here, but I got a chance to speak with him on here, and I was very impressed with him. Very impressed the way he conducted himself, the way he moved in the ring, and he and Godric would be a great match. It would be a match that I think should be like a Sportswire sponsored match. I will personally sponsor the match. I will buy a ticket to the company that books it. I will buy one ticket. So whether it's LAW, Wink and a Nod Council members, whether it's Excel, Express, I will buy a ticket because I like to see that match.
Well, Godric could get a good match out of anybody. No offense to.
But this guy is interesting, and they know they've met in real life. And yes, definitely Budokai. We're excited about that. Excited. Check out Courtney on Slam Wrestling. And he wants a match with Godric Sandwell. Well, first he might have to, what's it? When you got to bulk up, you got to maybe eat more of your vegetables and protein. Maybe he'll get more protein and vegetables.
Protein's always good.
I didn't do enough of that. So, I mean, who am I to talk? Right? It was a joke. Oh, thank you as a gift. Oh, well, yeah. You just let me know. Just DM me. Anybody DM me on Instagram. You want to come on Sportswire? Yeah. Thank you for the gift, but you don't have to bribe me.
He put it in writing that it was a gift. That's smart.
Oh, I didn't read that. I didn't write it. I didn't read it and write it. I'd love to add some prestige to that All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Champion because Ox McCoy is the IMF Hardcore Champion. And, we obviously have a hardcore division LAW. I mean, we got Chase Maddox, and, I hope to see Chase Maddox back out there again. I hope to see that.
I love Chase Maddox.
Me too. I'm respectfully trying to understand how realistic, but your opinion is very relevant. Everybody's opinion is very relevant. And I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad everybody's here. Hello to Omen Black. Yes, he's here and Spits his show. What was your first show? Your first show to what? First show to watch, cover? I don't know. What was your? I don't know. You want to come? Give me.
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Clarify the question. I'll bring it back up. Okay. I loved Carlito and the Judgment Day. Yeah. Well, he was a great footnote, and we're gonna say. Here's how I'm going to read it off. You ready? Yoshi, what's good, ya? You like the timing on that?
Finally, somebody else got beeped and not me. Yeah.
I've had a lot of Anthony Steele's been beeped on here. Omen Black's been beeped on here. Justin Parsley's been beeped on here. We've had some beeps. There's some beeps. Would you beep if Max Hammer and Andrew Lovelace came back on the Sportswire? Should I beep those names? Potentials comebacks?
Absolutely.
They're looking to make their way back on here. By the way, if I say what the name of their finishing move is, I will certainly be using this.
What is wrong with that word?
What?
I don't understand. I don't understand why it's so controversial to call a move that.
Because I'm a family station. I got Grand Funk Railroad coming on next week. I'm a family station. We're family on Sportswire. We got Zilla here. We got the kids here. We got people, Princess JD's out there. We're a family station on Sportswire. We are going to certainly say that finishing move is called this. We are family. I
didn't say it.
In Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates won the World Series 19-0 history in 1979. Their theme song was "We Are Family," and we are a family show, so we're not going to repeat that finishing move. We're not going to say that name. So we're not saying. We're not. Listen, we do things differently. Because did I use it correctly? Yes. Well, you did, but man, I'm good. Just getting the dumbasses to scratch. They can have. I hope everybody has decent matches. Please have good matches. Have fun and be responsible out there. The quote was it the Budweiser? Was it Budweiser that said, "Be careful and be responsible" or something like that? Something like that. It was a good one. And indeed as well, Mr. Wakefield. Yes, Mr. Wakefield. And I got light tubes. Yeah, you got light tubes.
Oh no.
I got 5 light tubes on it. Cato's going to be here Friday night. He's going to be talking about a lot of light tubes, a lot of them. And Justin Parsley is definitely the hall monitor. He is actually the most Hall of Fame inductions of any Sports Radio Hall of Famer. Here's the question: what was your first show in the Indies? You watched, covered. I don't know.
Me, if you're
Yeah,
if you're
right.
asking me, it was an IWC show to see Tarantula.
Okay, that's a good
Pitt-
one.
Pittsburgh legend Tarantula.
Okay, I heard of that name. Okay, that's a good one. Good. Um, Peanut Butter and Jealous. We can say their name, PB and J, but I'm not saying their finishing move because we have kids. I got Zilla, I got Princess JD here, and we just do things differently here. I mean, you can say it on anybody else's stream. You check it out on Facebook, but we're not going to repeat that finishing move. Just not going to do it.
It is a really good move, though. You have to
No,
say
and
that
on Facebook it got like thousands and thousands of views. I mean, I give them that. I
it's
mean,
very impressive.
it was very impressive, and you can check out that move on their Facebook pages. And speaking of impressive people, before we move on here and close the show in a little while, Dave Jameson was a busy man there in West Virginia, and he's going to be very busy the next few weeks. And what happened with the collective there?
Okay. That was a lot.
Yeah.
So
you deserve a water. Not like me. I can do this in 24 hours. Go ahead. You got this.
You have the collective making their anticipated return to WWF. And they were taking on the Anarchy, which is Nate Steele and Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
And given everything that they had dealt with the Syndicate and, just finding their own path, as Aaron James had suggested, it was an incredible match. And then the swarm of damnation literally surrounded the entire ring, forcing the collective and Anarchy to team up just out of survival. And it was a crazy scene. There was like 10 guys just fighting it out. And I'm kind of sad we didn't get a winner in that match, though.
It was a no contest. We didn't get a winner because of obviously what happened. So what happens now?
They team up to fight Damnation, because if they're making those kind of moves where you're literally surrounding the entire ring, you have to, for survival, you have to team up. But I thought Day was going to blow a gasket. He was uncontrollable. He was swinging at anything that moves.
Well, there was a move he did that went viral on Facebook. Did you see that? There was a clip of the match. Did you see that?
The kicks. Yeah. I'm so proud of him. And later on that evening, he snuck out to the ringside area to watch Brutal Ben Metal's match. And they had a stare down, and I thought they were going to fight in the crowd again. But according to Eamon, they're going to have a match soon. So to see Brutal Ben Metal and Dave Jameson, that's going to be incredible.
And you couldn't have had Metal Mayhem without Brutal Ben Metal. You know that, right? You couldn't have had that. I mean,
of course not.
That's an intriguing match, though. Dave Jameson and Brutal Ben Metal. I mean, that would be an intriguing match. I mean, that would be a big test there for Dave Jameson, I would think.
And for Brutal Ben Metal. Absolutely.
Yes. I think it's one of those could go either way matches.
It really could. I'm biased because I love both of them. I could not pick a winner. But
maybe
I'm the winner because I get to see an incredible match. And I'm the winner of that match.
Courtney, you win every time you go to these shows. When you see Dave Jameson wrestle, when you see Brutal Ben Metal, when you see, I'm going to say it, yes, James Enoch, tomorrow's guest, Chris Phoenix, Hype Man Dan Lasers. I mean, those are some good names. You used to win with Aaron James. You used to win with him. You used to win with him.
I will again. I have faith in Aaron James. He'll come back to us.
I'm asking a lot about that tomorrow night. I'm going to be talking about that. Obviously, we have the Institute's James Enoch here, the Chemical Valley Gunslinger. That's going to be a topic. I mean, that's just going to be a big thing. And obviously, the future there. And Hype Man Dan Lasers is going to be a big part of certainly future shows. Chris Phoenix is here next Saturday. And Hype Man Dan Lasers is wrestling Pepper Pride, I saw out there next Friday. And,
for the Indie Vision Championship. That's going to be incredible.
That's an intriguing matchup there. It's an intriguing matchup there. That's the first defense for Pepper Pride, if I'm not mistaken. That's her first title defense. First defense is the most difficult one. The first title defense is always the one that gives the champion the most problems. And Hype Man Dan Lasers, is a guy that he's got a lot of potential, and he very well could use this. We were talking about. It's funny because Tommy Hara was a topic on Sunday, and we were talking about maybe the Indie Division Championship, and maybe that's a championship that the likes of Hype Man Dan Lasers looks at, or maybe Daniel Tafua goes back and tries for again, and there we go, and we see it announced. So I mean, we'll obviously be paying attention to that, and thank you very much for your kind words. I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate you, and I hope you're here tomorrow for James Eno. I got some good shows coming up here. Cato's back here Friday. We have Sunday of a big guest here coming. I'm going to announce that Friday though, because it's going to certainly go right into the crowd that I'm going to have here Friday night, and a lot of great stuff ahead. So, anything else that's on your mind that we didn't get a chance to cover? WVWF. Obviously, we talked a little about LAW. The aftermath of Godric not getting that championship. No shots matter now for Godric, and anything else that we didn't get a chance to cover tonight that you think is important?
I really hope Godric survives the Soul Taker. I hate seeing him in these positions. I really do.
But you know what? I think that's what Godric, if you look at his year, right? You look at Godric's calendar year, that's kind of been this year for me. You've seen him in Tennessee. You've seen what he went through in Express Wrestling. You've seen what he's went through in LAW. Now you're going to see him with some of the biggest opportunities anybody's going to have in their careers. And I think that that's kind of where Godric is. And I think Godric has kind of lived and died by this. It's no longer to me about whether Godric can't win the big one. Godric's going to be one of those guys that you're going to ride or die with him, because he's just going to, sometimes he's going to have matches that, you're saying, why is he in a match like this? But Godric wouldn't have it any other way. So what I think about Godric, this is exactly who Godric Sanwell is. He's the gentleman of exquisite caliber, and he is a guy that is in these situations. He's in them for a reason, and some people think he's pound for pound the best wrestler in the Mid-Atlantic area right now. Some people think that, there's people that have gotten to know him here. He's become a household name, and I think ultimately what happens in LAW, does he get the one more shot? I don't know. We got a lot of time between now and whatever we see next in LAW. I think that's going to be an open-ended question, and I don't have the answer.
We'll see. If anybody can do it, it'll be him. I just hope that he taps into the Devil in the Blue coach a little bit more than the gentleman.
I think, listen, he did redeem himself. He picked himself back up off the mat, and he was very adamant. He was defiant when he was here on Sportswire last week about that one more shot. But Tommy Hara was just as defiant and saying, no shots matter. No more shots when it comes to Godric Sanwell. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But the council may have a different say on that. That's always something we'll have to see. But again, Godric could be here. How about this before we go? Godric could be here the night after winning the NWA Midwestern Championship. What a monumental moment that would be to win the NWA Midwestern Championship. And he's got that opportunity and to beat the Soul Taker, who, by the way, the Soul Taker just teamed up with the man I interviewed, Savio Vega. Just teamed up with him.
I saw that. How cool was that?
And the Soul Taker, maybe he'll come on to Sportswire one day. Who knows? I mean, if Savio Vega was here,
you can get him off the news when he's not doing the weather.
Now, we both have something in common. We've both covered the news. He's probably done a lot better job than that, because he can tell the weather. They want to throw me off the radio and the news shows. Actually, no, people seem to be happy with it. But I mean, we could have something in common. But yeah, it's a big next few weeks for Godric. I definitely am excited about that. Dave Jameson obviously is going to have a big next few weeks as well. Very excited about this tag team with Hype Man Dan Lasers and Chris Phoenix. James Enoch is here tomorrow. Wyatt Black, you're very happy Wyatt Black got a dose of his own medicine. Very happy about that. You're very happy about that. And,
awesome.
It's a lot going on here. I mean,
there is
a lot about it. Jay May and Riku St. Helen could potentially be something that we're going to see down the line. And the lovable Lester's always cooking something up with the train and going choo-choo and getting those interviews going. And
do not envy his job.
Well, he's got the job and he's the man for it. And I am certainly excited about WVWF. We have a lot of WVWF coverage here coming up, obviously, tomorrow night at 10:30 with James Enoch, the Chemical Valley Gunslinger. A lot to ask. Hopefully, we get a lot of answers. And Courtney, I'm going to pass the baton to you. I'm going to give you closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say? And the floor is yours. Now I know why famously He's Got Till 5 comes from. When I hear that out there, I'm going to know that you were historical. You were a legend.
I was the only fan with their own catchphrase, and it bothers people so much. It annoys people so much, and I don't know why, but that just makes me feel louder.
Well, and I got a follow-up to that. You're no longer a fan. You are one of the very best out there because you were featured in Slam Wrestling's website. So you're no longer a fan. You've moved over because you're now covering this stuff, and you've wrote 2 hell of an articles that people can check, and I'll put them up one more time. And you got any closing thoughts, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, I would like to wish Dave Jameson luck on his match against KJ Orsa. That's going to be amazing. Lots of cool stuff happening, as you said. I'm very excited for everything that's going to be happening. And thank you for showing that. That was a really big deal for me.
Oh, listen, absolutely. And I can't wait to see the next article, and we'll see when that may be. And yeah, definitely check it out. It's a great article, great piece. And I'm very excited about Day. Day is one of those guys that always comes up every night on Sportswire. He will definitely be a topic for sure tomorrow. And I can't wait to see the rest of that card. Godric is on it against certainly a Soul Taker. We spoke about Freddie versus Jason. I'm not going to put you on the spot there, but I'm very well. All right. Well,
I'm a Freddie.
Well, if you're I mean, I don't know if you can say you're a Johnny Depp fan. You can be a Johnny Depp fan anymore, but that's how Johnny Depp got his start in his career. Freddie.
I hate Johnny Depp.
Okay. I don't have an opinion either.
I despise Johnny Depp. He is everywhere. But fun fact, I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
Every time I say something, you already know it. But in the original run of A Nightmare on Elm Street, like when they first came out on VHS, his movie credit was Oprah Noodle Mantra.
Okay, I think I do remember that, hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Glenn, played by Oprah Noodle Mantra.
Yeah, well, he's definitely a guy that looks like that name, and that's why I'm going to just say maybe Freddie has the edge, but who knows? But I'm very excited about LAW. I'm very excited about the WVWF, and he can't wait to meet Rhino. Yeah, well, tell him he'll probably have forgotten about me, but tell him that yours truly. But who knows? Maybe he'll forget it. But I got his phone number, so if he doesn't, I'll just I'll give you his phone number and make sure you remind him. No, I'm only kidding. We do have his phone number, but we don't call those people. But thank you, everybody. Go follow the WVWF. Give us up to them on YouTube. Check them out on Facebook. LAW, please support them on Facebook. Can't wait to see what LAW does going forward. Also, Courtney's on slamwrestling.net. She's got her own page. She's got an article there about Daphne. Please read. She's got one previously to that. Check it out. It's on from Scotland Wrestling. Check it all out there. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters. If you were here on Sportswire Radio, I will be back here 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We can say that now today with Mr. James Enoch. And he's going to tell him, I don't know if I'm the best broadcaster, but, if you mention my name, he might remember me because of the long intro. I bet you that he'll remember me. I'll bet you. If he doesn't, then you know what? Tell him Gary Wolf sent you. But because Gary definitely remembers me. But we appreciate that. We'll find out. But until then, thank you very much. It's time to retire for the day. We'll do the intro tomorrow for James Enoch. We're just kidding. We'll always continue to do the intros until my voice allows it. But thank you, everybody. Please support Courtney. All wrestling matters. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one Global Radio Sports